Okay, so today I'm going to break down literally the best meta ad strategy for your clothing brand in 2025. And I'm going to say even a 5-year-old kid can understand this and implement this. Okay, now first of all, why you should listen to me. Worked with 150 clothing brands plus before turning 21, ran a marketing agency for 2 years plus, now running a consulting agency where we partner up with small clothing brands, just like yours probably, the one you're watching, right, to help them scale. Okay, check my testimonial page out again. It's gonna make your thumb sore. Okay, bunch of testimonials. I made YouTube for testimonials, etc., etc. Okay, work with brands like Pluto Golf, St. P, Anna Michon, Brimmer. List goes on. Okay, this video is specifically going to be the most valuable for brand owners who are below 10k a month. Okay, because this specifically works very well for new ad accounts, new brand owners. Okay. What you will clearly understand watching till the end of this video is a clear system, right? What to fix on your ads currently and clear direction on what to do next regarding your whole strategy and systems for your brand, okay? Okay, so understanding paid ads, especially meta ads in 2025 are complete different new rules, okay? Forget everything you watched past from 2023, 2024, 22, 21, okay? There's no more funnels, creatives over everything, and no more bullshit ad structure, okay? Literally the ad structure, funnels, everything is gone. And I like to say, you probably heard of top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. Now it's just called AOF, what I like to call all of funnel, okay? Because there's no funnels anymore, okay? You'll probably get a better understanding of this the more you watch this video, okay? So I'm going to clearly just break down literally step by step on the systems, the settings, on what you need to do to literally work paid ads and figure it out for your brand specifically. Okay, so let's go through it. Okay, first things first, obviously you have to be in your ad account. Okay, create a new campaign, and most of the time we're going to choose a sales campaign. Okay, let me explain. You've probably seen maybe old videos, stuff like that, selecting awareness campaigns, even traffic campaigns, engagement campaigns. I guess the whole ideology of that is to attract top of funnel audiences, right? To get them into sort of your data, to your website, and then sort of retarget them with a sales campaign or whatever, campaign. But the truth of it is, this isn't going to do anything for us just because, especially Meta, on how smart it has gotten, it's going to attract literally people, right? So for example, if we select a traffic campaign, Meta is going to try and select or grab people's attention who is known for just clicking on a website, meaning the quality of the lead is going to be very low, okay? So logically, it makes sense to run a sales campaign if you want sales. It's that simple, okay? There's no ideology of, we need to get our top of funnel audience first, we need to get our brand awareness first, okay? We do this through the sales campaign anyways. It's just the creatives and the actual ad sets we use are different, but in terms of campaign objective, like 90% of the time we are going to use a sales campaign because that's the whole point of it, right? We run ads to get sales, right? Nothing more, nothing less, okay? The second, campaign objective that's most popular is leads, okay? So if you want to collect email and SMS, obviously we're not going to use a sales campaign for that because we're trying to collect the email and lead data from it, okay? So from that instance, we would use leads, which is very powerful. But in the example, we're going to talk about sales campaign because that is what the brands use to scale, okay? So the main thing I want you to understand from this concept is please run a sales campaign, okay? Because awareness, traffic engagement, app promotion, okay, that's probably not even what you're thinking about running, but please run a sales campaign because every dollar we spend, I know we want to spend the most efficient way possible, okay? And for your instance, if you're a brand, especially doing under 10k a month, right, sales is going to be what's going to be the most beneficial for your brand, okay, especially Meta, okay? So let's talk about the actual campaign structure and what we need to do, okay? So campaign name, I would name this a CBO. Basically what this means is it shows that it's a campaign budget optimization, right? Meaning we're going to spend the ad dollars in the campaign level, okay? What that basically means is we're basically letting Facebook determine where the spend is going to go in the ad set, okay? Obviously when we get to the ads level, I'll explain on why we're actually doing a CBO, okay? But for now, I will name this campaign CBO and whatever product or collection you're advertising, and then I would also put the date, okay? So the name is actually very important, especially when we get to the stage where we're scaling, just because we want to keep everything organized, especially the date, so we know when this campaign launched, how much we spent from that time to that time, and everything organized, okay? So for campaign detail, buying type is 100% time going to be auction, and obviously campaign objective is going to be sales, right? Advantage plus catalog ads, you want to turn them off, okay? Now for budget, obviously this is as determined before, it is a CBO, so our campaign budget is going to be our budget strategy is going to be sent to the campaign budget, okay? So it shows you a little description here, automatically distribute your budget to the best opportunities across the campaign, okay? Advantage plus on, make sure this is green, okay? So for your budget, okay, make sure Advantage plus budget is on, okay, especially when paired up with CBO. And budget, I know you're probably thinking I need a minimum of $50 a day, $30 a day, $20 a day. That is completely a myth, okay? So let me explain on this. So everything with ads, you want it to be consistent, okay? And what I mean by that is if you have, let's just say $1,000 you want to spend on ads, okay? It is so much better to split this up into $200 a month, okay, for 5 months, okay, rather than spending $1,000, you know, in 1 month, okay, just because we need the ads, especially for a new ad account, to run more consistent. Like turning on and off is literally the worst. Turning on and off an ad is literally the worst thing you can do, okay? The reason is, if you're running an ad set, for example, and maybe doing good, and you suddenly turn it off just because you ran out of money or in the ad budget, whatever, it's sort of letting Facebook know that there was something wrong with the ad set. Meaning Facebook the algorithm is going to switch and find something else or find a new audience and stuff like that, right? Which again, it complicates things, especially if it was doing well, okay? So if you have 1,000 or whatever your ad budget is, I would recommend you splitting that up in terms of actually running the ads more consistently every single month. However, if you go below US, so I'm calculating through USD, if you go below anywhere from $10 a day, just because your ad budget doesn't suffice it, then I would sort of think about if running ads is the right option for your brand right now, just because we don't want to be in the position where we have to 100% rely on ads and it's a break or make situation. If that's the case, ads is probably not the go, and it's probably not going to be the best vehicle to sort of take in scaling your brand at the moment, right? So I want to go anywhere below $10 a day, but by all means, $15, $20, $25 is a great ball mark to start, okay? So obviously you work it out in terms of your ad budget and go backwards from there, okay? I'd rather you have a consistent ad budget where we can put a certain amount every single month consistently, right? Just, of course, this is a ball mark of where we get nothing back out of it, okay? Obviously, it doesn't count towards the return of ad spend and stuff like that. So that's the first thing I would do, okay? So CBO, budget strategy on CBO, campaign budget, and daily budget worked out, okay? Now we move on to the ad set level, okay? So for people that don't know the ad set or how the structure goes, so there's a campaign level, which is basically your home for the ad, and then we go into the ad set level, where we're actually going to put the settings, is where the audience is, the locations and stuff like that, okay? It's going to be very simple. It's going to be very simple, okay? Again, no more ad strategy, stuff like that. It's very simplified. For conversion location under the ad set, you want to select website, okay? Obviously it says drive sales conversion your website, okay? Don't do website and app or website and shop if you get the option. Just go to the website 100% of the time, just because of the algorithm, okay? So it should look like this, and for performance goal, you want to select maximize number of conversions, okay? And make sure the conversion API is ticked when you actually enter your pixel, which should be below this, okay? So for your audience, just make sure the Advantage Plus is on like this, okay? Controls, limit who can see your ads, leave it. Location, United States, but if you're from Australia, New Zealand, or whatever it is, make sure it's your own country. So if you're a brand from Australia, I would change this to Australia, okay? It's pretty simple, okay? Leave everything on as it is. Make sure this green Advantage Plus on is ticked on, okay? And placements is Advantage Plus on, okay? It's very simple. The reason why we want all these ticked on is basically we're just letting Facebook do its job in terms of determining the budget spend, which we've discussed in the CBO, and then obviously the audience direction, based on CBO, because we're at this stage right now where our ad account has no data, right? So we're trying to test the angles first in terms of creators before we go into audiences, interest, or the whole new structure. Okay, so we're not too fussed about the actual audiences, or we're not too fussed about where our feed's shown, because again, if Facebook's better, then then Meta is going to distribute the budget to Facebook anyways automatically. Okay, obviously once we're scaling, we want to do this manually as well, right? Everything manually. But at the start, when we have no data, right, this is literally the best way to do it in terms of getting data. Okay, so this is very important to understand. I want you to listen here closely. Okay, this is what it should look like specifically. So this is the ad sets. So you're going to have 2 ad sets. Okay, now obviously this part that's cut out is campaign, so everything should be under the campaign. Okay, so 2 ad sets. Okay, we're gonna have 4 ads each. Okay, so we're gonna have 8 ads in total, right, which we'll talk about here. And then we're gonna test angle 1 and angle 2. Okay, let me explain. So obviously we've determined that the placements, the audiences, and especially budget, we're letting Facebook do its thing, just because it's smarter than us. Okay, especially the new AI. Okay, but the thing that we need to sort of control and look at is the actual angle. Okay, so we're gonna test 2 angles at the same time, just because of our budget constraints. Okay, the first thing first is what I recommend is sort of isolating your collection line or your product line for your brand. Okay, just because, for example, let me write this down here. If we have product 1 to product 5, right, we have 5 products, right? That means we need to test, if we're testing 2 angles in each product, we'll have to test 10 angles, right? But if we isolate one hero product, right, and we focus that in the whole campaign, and we know this product has worked and is your best seller anyways, right, it just makes sense to sort of maximize it with the dollars we have, right? So we can test fewer angles but get more out of it, because if product 4 and product 4 to product 5 didn't work organically anyways, then why are we putting the dollar behind it, right? Facebook isn't just going to magically get you sales just like that. Obviously there is a constraint to it, right? You just want to maximize the chance of getting sales and just bringing cash flow to the brand. That's it, right? So that's my whole ideology of why for each campaign you should just focus on 1 product each. Okay, so angle 1 and angle 2, I'm just going to go a little deeper into this. Okay, so this is how I name the ad set specifically. So P equals the product, right? Cutoff is the product name, right? And then we have the angle 2, right? I don't know why I wrote angle 1. Okay, it's flipped around, but anyways, angle 2 is stock flat lay, meaning I used ads and I tested the angles / creatives of just the same creatives on different flat lays, maybe background change, the different color change, maybe text in the corner, but it still follows the same angle, which is demonstrates the product to be on a flat lay. And again, like if you don't know what a flat lay is, then you probably haven't watched my other videos. Please do. Okay, now for angle 2 we have model raw, meaning we just tested the angle between the models, right? Lifestyle UGC creators that provided us raw creatives with it. So we legit have 4 of these and 4 of these here. Okay, we've split it into different ad sets just so we can determine where Facebook is actually going to distribute the budget to. Okay, and now you're sort of thinking, right, this is the whole reason why we've let the budget to be on the CBO. So from this, Facebook, or let's just say Meta, is going to control which dollar. So if you put $20 a day, what dollar is going to go into what ad set, right? Which also shows us what angle is working better, because Facebook's spending money on it. Okay, so if we manually did this, that means we need to read into KPIs, and the KPIs will be accurate, and it's a new audience, stuff like that. We'd rather just let Facebook just handle this part at the start of the whole ad account phase. Okay, so that's the main logistics of it. So I forgot to mention as well for ad, which we'll get into a bit, but ad 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're all different variations / variables. Okay, so as I said, model 1 can be female, model 2 can be female, model 1 can be a male. This can be different background, etc. They all have to be different, but it's still under this ad set just because the vertical and the angle is the same. Hope that makes sense. Okay, So now let's just go into the ad level and see what settings that we need to put up. Okay, it's very simple. Okay, so once we go into the actual, so keep in mind we're in the ad level now. Okay, so it goes campaign, ad set, and the ad level. Okay, so media setup, we want to do manual upload because we want to upload our own creatives. Okay, and the reason we turn Advantage catalogs off on the campaign level. Okay, so format, obviously these are the only two you're going to use. If it's a carousel, which it shows 2 or more scrollable images or videos, select that. If it's a single image or a single video, obviously select this. Okay, and we want to turn multi-advertiser ads on. Okay, it's been working very well for our brands. Okay, another key thing is for destination. Okay, website URL, make sure you demonstrate, or make sure you actually put to the and lead them to the product page of your products. Okay, so for example, if for this example our product is cut off, right, instead of leading them to the home page, collection page, about us page, make sure the website URL goes to the product page, okay, of the product. Okay, I'm just gonna give you an example from this brand, Comfort. You probably heard of it. So this is the collection page. Okay, so many sign up page. Okay, this is the home page. Okay, and the product page is this. Okay, so if, for example, if we're advertising this green signature hoodie, then we want to lead to exactly this page when they click on it. Okay, if it was a red one, then lead them to this red product page. Okay, this is super important and it's going to be very beneficial. This is why we want our product page to be very optimized in terms of, you know, getting them to the buyer state and selling, right? Just because of this factor. Okay, the conversion is going to be much higher if we lead them to the product page. Okay, just because they don't have to click a lot of buttons and it's a lot simpler. Okay, the add to cart button is right there above the scroll if your website's set up right. Okay, very important. Okay, don't worry too much about the display link. Okay, browser add-ons, none, because again we're not doing any of this. Okay, very important aspect as well for the Advantage Plus creative enhancement, make sure you turn everything off. Okay, but for some ad accounts you have the option for relevant comments. Okay, if you do have the option for relevant comments, then turn it on. Okay, so it should be 1 out of 9. Okay, but for this ad account specifically there wasn't, so we're going to turn everything off. Okay, for tracking we should be under the ads, so the very bottom of the ad level on the account settings. Just make sure website event is ticked and then your pixel has a green dot on it. If it's yellow, it's red. Set it up again. This is super important for getting data. Okay, so as you can see, the overall setup isn't that hard, right? Obviously, most of the stuff, especially on the campaign and ads level, we're letting Facebook do its thing, right? But what's important is the actual creatives and the type of angles we test, right? That's the most important aspect, right? But the second most important aspect is the angle rotation and sort of the, I guess, approach we need to head in terms of after it let it spend and also which direction we need to head. Okay, which is sort of what I want to quickly explain to you in this example here. Okay, so obviously at the start of the video I mentioned 2 angles in one product, okay? And you know the reason why we want to capitalize on one hero product instead of having 5 to 10 products on a campaign, right? It just becomes messy, okay, in terms of testing angles and stuff like that, okay? So, 1 product and 2 angles at the start, okay? Secondly, it's very important that you don't turn it on and off an ad set. Okay, let it run. Facebook will distribute the dollars accordingly. Okay, trust Facebook. Okay, let it do its thing. Okay, it's much smarter than us, even me. Okay. Another thing is, it's like you have to let it run. Okay, I wouldn't even look at the ad set for at least minimum 3 days until spend, even if it gets 100 sales or 0 sales, because there's no point. Okay, like being happy over an ad account doing well for a new campaign doing well in the first 3 days, it doesn't really mean anything, right? It can be luck, right? It can be bad luck, it can be good luck. So we don't want to make decisions of just new emotions. You get what I mean? But if the campaign does well with significant spend, and the ideology behind this is we want to spend at least 2x of the AOV ideally, right? Then scale the campaign because we're having a CBO, meaning the budget is set to the campaign level. Scale it 10 to 20% of the budget, right? So, yeah. So if it was set at $20, then it goes up to $24, right? If you scale it up 20%, okay? If the campaign flops, you need to test different angles, okay? I'm gonna go a bit into this because just because you make the best credits possible at the start, okay, and you think you've tested the best perfect 2 angles and product at the start, doesn't mean it's gonna generate you, that 5k, 10k, 20k, or the ROAS you're talking about, right? Like, the hardest part of media buying is making sure, number one, the dollar and the distribution goes the right way, but number two is reiterating, right? Keep testing new stuff, right? Because at the end of the day, and this is why I go sort of back to the budget, right? I'd rather you spend $200 a month, for 5 months rather than $1,000 on 1 month, because we can't do this without it, okay? It's like, okay, you gotta understand, if campaign flops, it's alright, right? It's not the end of the world, right? It's not gonna get us sales, right? Obviously, we're running ads to get sales, but realistically and logically, like, even if we don't get sales, but we get the right data to improve on the different angles, then it's a win for us. And at the end of the day, every business needs to keep running ads and build off it. But if you keep running ads and you don't know the next direction of it, then you're wasting your money. But if you keep running ads, even if you don't get sales, which we're hoping to get sales, right? But if we don't get sales, it doesn't mean we're losing money and we're just blowing money, because we know what to do, okay? So for example, let's just give this example a go. So let's just say we tested 2 angles and we spent a significant amount, let's just say, $150, okay? And it's got 0 sales, okay? It's all about finding out what is a variable that we need to test, okay? Because from these ads alone, so you have 8 chances, 8 opportunities I like to look at least one of them would stick in terms of an anomaly, right? At least, for example, this one here would have got the most spend, or would have got the most content views, or something like that. Okay, if you have questions regarding that, let me know, give me a DM, okay, I'll help you, okay? Something around this, then work out the variable, okay? So for example, it's a model, right? Let's just say it was a female model. What's the variable? Was it the background that made it, work, okay? Was it the actual model, okay? The model might have been a perfect ICP, okay? Maybe it's more towards the vertical, right? So we would kill this off then, right? And start a new campaign where we focus more on this, right? Again, we wouldn't be able to figure out if this worked, right, if we didn't spend the budget. Okay, so that's the whole recycle and why this structure works so well, because like we get to just focus on the vertical and let Facebook control everything else. Okay, so hope you got some value out of this. Okay, if you have any questions, just give me a DM. Okay, I'll help you out. Okay, but yeah.